everyone, and welcome back to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy. Tonight we have Bug Scam versus 5-Color Glimpse. On the left, we have Max G playing his Bug Scam list. I want to call this a tempo deck, but it's probably more of an aggro control deck. It runs a bunch of creatures, and it's just trying to gain incremental advantage over time and control you out of the game with its Force of Wills and Dazes and removal spells like Snuff Outs. This list does actually run one Stifle, which will make one of our local players very happy. And other than that, it's actually got 4 Reanimates in it. So the idea is kind of either kill your opponent's big threats, maybe you can hymn something good out of their hand and reanimate it, or you can put your Grief on turn 1 and then reanimate their threat. Other than that, it's just black, blue, green good stuff. It's got Uro in it, it's got Leovold, it's got some Baleful Strix for stonewalling your opponent, and you just win over time. You win because your cards are better than theirs. Now you, like I was a couple weeks ago, may be saying, Eugene, where the hell does the name Scam come from? There's no Scam card in the deck. That's true. So if you're watching this video, you are probably familiar with the fact that Magic players make little to no sense when naming some of their decks, like Strawberry Shortcake or Cephalid Breakfast. Often naming things after breakfast options. The scam for this particular deck comes from the idea that you are not paying full retail price for your creatures. So you put a Grief into play off of the Evoke, it goes to the graveyard after taking their best card, and then you can reanimate it back to play. You're only paying 1 mana. That's 75% off of Grief's full retail price. So you've scammed your own deck. I'm not kidding. That's really where it comes from. Yep. And on the right, we have Alex K playing a pretty buck-wild deck based off of this modern card, Glimpse of Tomorrow. Printed in Modern Horizons 2, this is pretty much exactly what Warp World was, but it's only one-sided. So the idea of this deck is to get a bunch of permanents in play, either playing lands that can create tokens, like Colony Garden, or you can evoke a Wave Sifter, which is going to leave behind 2 investigation clue tokens, and you just want to flood your board with a bunch of nonsense. And once you get into some creature that can cascade, well, all of your cascade spells only lead to Glimpse of Tomorrow. And so you cast the Glimpse of Tomorrow with hopefully like 6, 8 things in play, which does include lands, and then you shuffle up everything you own and then flip that many permanents into play, or flip that many cards into play off the top of your library. Hopefully, hitting this bad boy attracts a Grand Unifier, or Emrakul the Aeons Torn, or maybe one with the Multiverse or Omniscience. So it's cheating in these insanely expensive spells that are going to get you massive advantage for potentially as little as 3 mana, or I guess 3 mana, Violent Outburst. They all cost 3. And of course, no blue deck would be complete without a few Force of Wills to make sure that you can protect your combo strategy. Now that we've learned a little bit more about each deck, let's get into the games. All right, here we go. Max playing, starting on the play, we see a fetch land come into play, a fetch land from Alex, a pass turn. Then we have some unknown blue duel. Getting to cast that Brainstorm on main phase? It's interesting. I guess Max setting up for his fetch land at end of turn here, seeing the Bayou. So we got a Bayou and an Underground Sea in play. Alex hasn't cracked either of his fetches yet, not knowing that Max is on 1 Stifle here. A terrifying card. A Polluted Delta is going to get a 3rd mana. Wonder what that's setting Max up for here. Maybe he's going to drop a Baleful Strix into play. Or maybe he's got an Uro to come in. There he is. There's that Uro. That's going to drop another land into play, drawing a card. Oh, it doesn't look like Max actually has another land. So we're going to pitch a Snuff Out for a Grief. Say, Alex, what are you playing? You haven't done anything. And Alex says, yes, I'm very sad. The fact that I haven't done anything yet. Picking up and reading one with the Multiverse. Taking the Violent Outburst, which is one of, it looks like Alex's two Cascade cards he's got here. Colony Garden coming into play, getting that token. putting something on the battlefield, because you really don't want to just cascade when you have nothing on field besides your lands. It's a really small cascade. It shuts down your chances of hitting something good. We see the Witherbloom command being played. Target player mills 3 cards. Ugh. Sorry about that. Looks like we destroyed target non-creature, non-land permanent, mana value 2 or less, and probably drained him. Oh, no. Oh, he milled himself. Oh, did he? Yes, he did. And then returned a land card from his graveyard to his hand. So get the token off the board, create some extra incremental advantage, getting that land drop, getting the Baleful Strix into play to draw a card. And we see Alex going and grabbing a land off of one of his fetches. Decides to pay 2. And this is going to evoke a Wave Sifter, which is going to get 2 of those clue tokens. Wow, Alex's hand is really, really tough. It's got a bunch of his fatties in it. 4 of those cards. He's basically got 1 card in hand, honestly. I mean, like, to have 2 Emrakuls, the Atraxa, and the one with the Multiverse, that's tough. So Alex really, really hoping to resolve this Shardless Agent here. Uro in play now for Max G. That's going to create some massive advantage. Going to be cracking in for 7. There is the Shardless Agent. Shardless Agent resolves. Oh no. I think I know what's going to happen here. I think Max has the daze for the Glimpse. Or the Force of Will. Yep. Doesn't have the 1 mana. So Shardless Agent does resolve. But the Cascade trigger is actually a separate spell. And so countering the Glimpse of Tomorrow was the correct play for Max to make here. Pondering something. Or resolving that ponder. Max plays really fast. I'm not paying attention, and then suddenly he's already moving on to his next game action. I guess it is double speed as well. So Uro attacks, gets to draw a card. We see a land off the top right into play. Crashing in for 7. Alex hoping that he's going to draw another Glimpse. Some sort of Cascade spell. Another Ponder. Kind of setting up Max's hand very well. He's got a Brainstorm. It doesn't look like he has a counterspell at present. That might be a Daze, actually, on the far right there. And we're seeing a Dothy Voidwalker. Dothy Voidwalker, of course, exiling the yard. Hey, there's a land off the top. And hopefully Alex does have... There it is, the Shardless Agent. So he goes again. Max saying, okay, well, maybe. Maybe I'll cast this Brainstorm. Forget it. Go ahead. So there's the Glimpse. So Max reads the Glimpse. I think it's actually going to resolve. Oh, we are seeing mana. There's a Brainstorm. Looking for that Force of Will, the hard Force of Will. Doesn't find it. Has just a bunch of weird stuff. He lets it resolve. All right, so being exiled under the Dothy Voidwalker. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a shuffle. The second Shardless Agent is not in play, so that does not make for an 8th permanent. Was that an Atraxa? Okay, good news. Good news, good news. So Atraxa is going to come in. We're going to look at the top 10 cards of the library. Get to draw 1 of each permanent type. Alex getting to decide here. He did see the Ardent Plea, which means that he might even be able to cascade right now. But if he does try and do this cascade, He will get blown out by that daze. So finally, all of these things are exiled underneath my Dothy Voidwalker. He finally does get to resolve the Shardless Agent. Searching for a fetch land. He does have 4 Emrakul in the deck, so there's a possibility that he can hit another one. Spends all of his mana. Here comes the daze. Once we reveal the glimpse, there's the daze. Picking up an island. Going underneath Dothy. A sad time. But he does have Atraxa, which I think has lifelink. Indeed it does. This does make for a very interesting back and forth here. Max probably just well, I don't know what Max attacks with here, honestly. So we're going to reanimate. What are we reanimating? The Grief? There's nothing interesting in Alex's graveyard. Yeah, so we're going to reanimate Grief. Grief is going to come in and take a card. He's going to... Okay, so Dothy makes it so it doesn't go to the graveyard. So what he griefs out of Alex's hand is an Emrakul. Now, Emrakul does have that trigger. If it goes to the graveyard from anywhere, then you shuffle it and your library. Yeah, their entire graveyard into their library. But because it's going to exile under the Dothy, it does not have that trigger. And Dothy says when you can tap it and sacrifice it and cast anything that is exiled under Dothy to kill them. So we go to Max's next turn, and he attacks with Emrakul and wins the game. That's pretty fun. We are into game 2. Alex just playing a forest and passing turn. We see a Ponder from Max. Fully resolved that cantrip, passing back, just playing a land. I don't think Alex's deck does a whole lot of anything the first couple turns besides maybe evoking a Wave Sifter. We see a Grief coming in. Looks like he's got 3 Cascade spells and 2 lands. So I guess it's always better to Cascade. And then we're going to reanimate Grief and take a second Cascade spell. Taking the Shardless Agents because eventually they will act as if they are a permanent in play to be cascaded away or glimpsed away. Alex wondering if he should play into the daze here. Pretty afraid. I would be pretty afraid of daze at this point. But he is on the draw, so Max could have taken some number of dazes out. If you can believe it, Max is actually only running 2 days, which is probably the best way to play that card because it puts the fear into the player that they might have daze at any time. But the actual statistical chance of Max having daze in his hand is extremely low. Untapping, grabbing a Wasteland, attacking for 3. And setting Alex back. So this actually has set Alex back 2 turns instead of 1 turn now. With that draw off the top. Respecting daze can cost you so many turns. Even though Max only has 1 land. This Grief doing an incredible impersonation of a Delver of Secrets here. Does have Menace. It's almost the same as flying. Almost. Not really. Alex not seeing that 4th land. We see a Brainstorm. The daze, though, not really mattering because we do see that Max has 2 Force of Wills. He does have the daze, though. Oh, my gosh. So, Alex, and I don't think Alex gets to play Magic this game. Max is just going to win with this tempo strategy of attacking with Grief 5 more times. And that will be the game. We just got to get there. Having a lot to think about with this Brainstorm. Oh no! Showing on accident that he has a Wasteland. We're seeing the Wasteland. He's going to tap it for mana and do the Violent Outburst. Max says, okay, that's fine. Here's a Daze. And attack you for 3. Alex is in a really bad spot here. I just don't think there's a way back from this. Down to 6. 2 more turns to make something happen. Passes it. 1 more turn to make something happen. I don't think it's there. Yeah, that's it. Max takes the game 2-0. Thanks for joining us for that one. I hope you enjoyed it. If this is your first time to the channel, consider subscribing to the channel so you can get up to date on all of our cool stuff. Thanks as always to Spellhold Games and Collector Legion for allowing us to record in their play space. And if you are interested in these deck lists, they are always in the description of this video, playing right below you. And if you're into that visual deck list that you saw at the beginning of the video, that is over on our Instagram at Tuesday Night Legacy. I think that's going to do it for us for this time. As always, I am Eugene, and this is Tuesday Night Legacy. I'll see you next time.